Today's destination brings us to ASA Electronics. Listen in as I talk with Jim Hess, and he shares the company's vision towards innovation and his constant drive to improve your RV camping experience. Hey everybody, welcome to the Launching Life's Journeys podcast. I am here at ASA Electronics with my good friend Jim Hess. He is the Vice President of Sales for the RV industry. Now, this is going to be a loaded episode because there's just so many things that we're going to be working together to provide to the customer in terms of communication and information. Before we get into this, just give everybody a little bit of context because I learned very quickly the Jensen brand, which is seen in just about every brand of RVs that's out there, you guys do so much more. Can you kind of just let everybody know about ASA and everything that you guys manufacture?
Absolutely. And thanks for coming and doing this podcast. We really appreciate trying to bridge that gap from manufacturer to consumer. It helps us out, it helps you guys out.
Oh yeah.
So we appreciate this opportunity. But a brief history on ASA. ASA was born in 1977, so it was 44 years old. And it began as a distributor of audio box products. And as the CEO quickly found, there was a real need to design and engineer products for its intended purpose. So what that meant was no longer was he going to buy a Jensen stereo and sell it to an OEM. He was actually going to use the Jensen brand and build it up and test it to specific specs, whether it's RV, marine, agriculture, heavy duty, commercial, whatever it may be, the five industries that we serve now, and make sure they're designed, engineered, and tested to their specific specs. So some of the customers that we have is UPS. Every brown truck in the country has a Voyager camera on it that was designed and engineered here in our building and tested here in our building. Pepsi, a lot of the Pepsi fleet trucks out there have Voyager wireless observation on them. So it's really important to us to make sure that we're not just selling product and distributing product, but we're actually manufacturing and engineering it to its intended purpose. It lowers warranty rates, it increases customer satisfaction, and it's just a more efficient system.
Sure. And so for me, I think what really hit off our friendship was we both have a background outside the RV industry. So, I immediately respected you being on the outside looking in and us thinking about the customer, right? We sell through a sales channel of dealers coast to coast in North America. And it's very difficult as a manufacturer of an RV, our portfolio of brands, any other brand that's out there, to share all of the information that's necessary so people know how to troubleshoot, even knowing of all the capabilities that you have. So when I get on the road and I talk to our owners at rallies coast to coast here in North America, I asked, what do you guys want to hear? They said, well, we don't get a lot of value in hearing about a new floor plan from you. We can do that on the internet now. The gap of information that we need help with is, we'll buy an RV, whether it's $40, $80, $200,000, and we'll see an in-command system. We'll see the Jensen radio system. And then we look at our package of what we get when we buy the unit, and the dealer's been great. They've given us the initial information. But when something happens in life, or they have issues or there's a connection, that's where that gap of opportunity that I saw, and you and I having a conversation before, we sat down here today, and we've been talking more and more on what can we start doing together to support, all the products and all the innovation that you guys are making, and then I can just kind of bridge the gap within our portfolio of brands where your innovations are in them and share more information, share more communication about troubleshooting issues or even capabilities, so we both want the same thing.
Sure.
A happy customer.
Right, and so with our company being ASA Electronics, some customers might not realize that their Jensen stereos were manufactured by ASA Electronics. Their Klipsch head units that's in marine products is manufactured at ASA Electronics. They might not realize that their Polk system was manufactured at ASA Electronics, the head unit. And so we have a variety of brands that we want to connect the customers to, but we also want to make sure that it's easier for them to find where they need to get. So Advent air conditioners. We sell a variety of different brands. We engineer a variety of different brands, and they're all tied back to ASA Electronics. So, you were talking about outside looking in. Another thing that ASA does to make sure that we stand out is we're ISO 9001 compliant.
Which is huge.
Which is huge, which I thought, why wouldn't we be, right? Being outside of the industry looking in, why wouldn't we be? And I found out that it's not really that common, unfortunately, within the industry. But that's one thing that we do. It's a requirement of John Deere and Case New Holland and some of the customers that we work with on other divisions. So we do things and manufacture things to that spec because it's the right thing to do. Another thing that I didn't tell you about is that in all of our stereos, this isn't a really big selling feature, but it's something we do because it's the right thing to do, is that all of our plastics are flame retardant. We don't have to do that. A lot of the other electronics manufacturers don't use flame retardant plastics in their materials. A lot of the materials that are in the RV are not necessarily flame retardant. We do it because we know that's the right thing to do. There's electronics inside, so we want to make sure that we're covered from a safety standpoint. And again, it doesn't increase our business, it doesn't increase our sales by doing that, but we include things like that just because it's the right thing to do. It's going to make a better product. It's going to keep the customer safer. And it's our ethics, it's our work ethic and our morals that we have at the company to make sure we're taking care of the customer and the product.
And when we continue that line, as you and I have been talking more and more and peeling the onion about these opportunities that we have in terms of communication, or hey, you know what, people don't know what they don't know until they know. One of the things that I've learned through discovery and interaction with a lot of these owners is they'll say, I didn't know ASA makes that, or I didn't know who to call. One of the things that I applaud you and your leadership all the way down, I know, we work with Stacy Black, and you guys have a great team that works with, every manufacturer here in the RV business, is you guys are actually promoting, and you've been saying, hey, we have content out there. Can you kind of talk about, for all the customers, if they didn't know, if they look at, their radio system or their backup camera or their security camera or their in-command system, that they can go to ASA on YouTube and just kind of talk about some of the support that you already have, that you said to me many times, Will, share it, tell people to get it out.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about that?
Yeah, when you reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and asked if we would participate, I welcome the opportunity. Please invite us to participate because we're trying to do it on our own, and so having partners to help get the word out is even better for us. But so we have a YouTube channel. It's at asaelectronics.com, and so you can go to our website, asaelectronics.com, or our YouTube site directly, and it'll have tons of videos, but we try to categorize them so they're really easy to find. Hopefully, let us know if they're not. Let Willie know if they're not.
Yeah, thanks.
He can make suggestions too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have them categorized by stereo, by brand, and all that, so it's easier to find. All of our stereos, all of our observation, everything should have a model number on it, so you can search by model number as well, including the one stereo right now that's really feature packed is the JWM92A. I know we don't want to get product focused necessarily on this video, but that one in particular is being used right now in the Landmark product. And that thing is full of features that we're finding out. We follow some of the forums as well. Some of the retail feedback is really important to us. And so we're finding out that a lot of customers don't even realize that stereo is app control. They don't realize that it's multi-source. They don't realize that it's independent volume control. So we have these YouTube videos, especially on that JWM either 90A or 92A now, and it's a feature-rich product. So no matter what Jensen or Voyager or in-command system you have, I would highly encourage you to check out our YouTube site. It has a lot of information, a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of frequently asked questions, growing by the day, by the way.
Yeah.
Our customer service team, you'll see a guy named Cliff in the Cliff Notes section. And it's growing by the day. So the more feedback that we can get on things that you didn't realize were possible, things that you wish we did, that you weren't aware that we did. There was a guy on Facebook the other day that just found out where the dimmer button was on his stereo. And he said, shame on you, community, for not telling me this existed a year ago. Because he can turn that brightness all the way down, and we did it based on customer feedback. We go to these rallies, we go to shows, and we get feedback. And one of the things was that those displays are too darn bright. So we put the dimmer thing on there. And this customer had the stereo a year before he figured it out. So things like that we try to include in the quick reference guides, in the YouTube videos, and now through this project that Willie has here through Heartland. So
Yeah, I'll tell everybody, in the weeks and months ahead, we get through the holidays, we are going to work together on some, at least just sharing of what the customers have asked us to do, and if there's any gaps in the current library that you have, we're going to work on maybe coming up with some of those, troubleshooting things, or maybe some of the new Q&As that we can go back to that maybe you had, but they just want updated, and we can help accelerate to get that information out there. The other thing I want to hit on too is a lot of times when it comes to RVs, not just our brands, every brand that's out there, a lot of times, people talk about the palette, right? When you look at the floor plan, it's kind of bland or basic or simplified, but they're intentionally designed that way to give you a base for you to be creative and make that RV yours, right? Same is true sometimes in the selection of the equipment, the auxiliary equipment that we select from ASA. And the one thing that I think, people are thinking about when they're on their buying journey is, hey, if they're at home and it's Bob and Sally, and it's like, man, we really want that model, but we're going to have to pay 20 grand other for this one because it has the upgraded sound system and this one doesn't have it. The one thing I want to tell everybody is you have the ability to buy ASA products, not just, when you buy the RV. So can you kind of talk about, there's a lot of people, especially right now, there's used inventory out there, maybe older systems. You do have a division where somebody that already owns a product, or maybe they're not satisfied with the sound, or they really want to make everybody angry that's around them, they can do that. Can you kind of talk about that for the retail customers after the purchase?
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that. We do have an aftermarket division, and we sell through NTP Stag, Meyer, Arrow, E-Trailer, Camping World,
and others.
And others, yeah, sorry, and others. So we do have an aftermarket division that sells directly to the customer and indirectly through the dealerships. And we have select stereos that we keep in the line just for the aftermarket. The OEMs have decided we've moved on, we got a different floor plan, a different look, but we still need a plug-and-play stereo. The consumers say we still need a plug-and-play stereo that at least has Bluetooth. Yeah. I mean, we have over 1 million stereos out there that are CD players, right? And they want Bluetooth, they want app control, they want multiple features. So we still do satisfy those footprints to be able to not have a whole cabinet design change and be able to upgrade their stereo or their speaker or whatever it may be. In-Command is continually progressing as well. So we have a new monitor that's going to be coming out. And so we're excited about the new monitor. So that will be something that's upgradable in the future as well. A lot of things that we try to keep fresh and refreshed, but also with in keeping in mind what's currently out there and to make sure that nobody's left behind in that aspect. In electronics, it's pretty difficult, and we're not batting 1,000 on that, obviously. With electronics, there's always obsolescence. There's always something that's new and latest and greatest, but we always try to, as much as we possibly can, keep in mind that there's customers out there that's going to want to upgrade or replace, and we try to keep a spot for that.
And the other thing that I want to add, though, to everybody that's listening and watching, what I really admire through your leadership and what you've instructed your customer service and your technical team to do, let's say somebody has a question and they're not sure. What I heard today, I heard somebody on a call and they said, so the people called in and asked, hey, can we put this in-command system in? You'll say no, but you'll explain why. So, the one thing I will tell you guys is, if you have a question or you want to do an upgrade through the retail division and get some of these upgrade components, your staff demonstrated. You're going to tell them, hey, what's the wiring system that you have right now? Unfortunately, that model or the way it's wired, we can't. But I witnessed how well you communicate and answer those technical questions. And as we've been talking, you want people to call and you want to be proactive. So if you have questions, there's just so much to learn because, to your point, technology is always changing. So let's kind of just round up everything. As I learned today, you guys, your engineering is top shelf. The durability testing you guys do, the water testing, the pressure testing, the climate control. You're going 6 months of durability testing. A lot of times people have this stigma of, well, the RV industry doesn't care. At ASA, that is not the case. Whether you're selling our products or we have your products in our unit, I saw your expertise and the amount of work that your team's putting forth, and I do applaud you guys for that. In addition, you've been successful in agriculture, marine, RV. There's so much out there now. cameras, you have radio systems, you've got in-command control systems. If we draw a line in the sand and we're looking forward, right, based on your engineering, kind of the future, what are you seeing in terms of, without disclosing kind of R&D, but where do you see the future happening in those product segments, whether it's ag, RV, marine? Is it different, or what do you just really see in terms of emerging technology?
So, so good question. There's a lot of differences in technologies based on the industry too. A lot of the agriculture and the heavy duty aren't as worried about features as they are about just the durability and the ruggedness of this thing. Can it get beat up?
And that makes sense.
And so, so the aesthetics aren't updated as much as something like the RV is. Everything, though, is moving to the phone. Everything's moving to the phone. So we as a company need to ask ourselves, how do we stay relevant? How do we continue to improve, continue to be an engineering-driven company, and continue to be relevant? We do have some exciting stuff I can't talk about yet. But stay tuned. But everything is revolving around the phone. Everybody's banking on the phone now. I've been to some different events and parks where they don't even take cash anymore. You have to use your phone, or you have to use your debit or credit card. They don't even take cash anymore. We've all been to restaurants now post-COVID where they don't have menus and you have to scan the QR code with your phone. Things that nobody would have imagined that you were forced to have to do from just 2 years ago, that you're being forced into it. So you can either embrace technology and find out all the amazing things you can do, or you're going to be left out, right? So we're cognizant of that. We're continuing to develop things that's going to be more tech friendly, more phone friendly. We're not going to design a new phone because we're not going to compete with Apple and Droid, but we're going to continue to design things that are friendly with tech and don't get in the way of camping, but help you expand your camping experience, help you make everything easier. I'm old enough to remember back when you used to have a car key to get in your car, and then you'd have a trunk key to get in your trunk, and then when you had the key fob, everybody thought, well, that's not necessary. It doesn't do any different functions than the keys. It's the same function. Why does everybody need a button? And then when you get a key fob, you can't live without it. And now you're not even needing the fob. You just keep it in your pocket and you open your door. So technology is not meant to be an impedance to what you're doing. It's not meant to be in a distraction from camping. It's supposed to make your camping experience more efficient. So as far as controlling slide outs, listening to your audio, watching your TV, turning on your lights, your air conditioner, technology happens around you. It's our job to make it as easy as possible for the customer to be able to do that and not be a barrier to the customer enjoying their RV. And that's really what we're working on. That's what we continue to try to do, and that's what we see further down the road. Is technology needs to work great. It needs to be as user-friendly as possible, and it needs to continue to grow. So in order to do that, our in-command system, for instance, talks to other components in the RV. We don't manufacture everything that goes in an RV, but we do manufacture electronics, and so we don't want to force you to buy this component or this component or this component. This works with in-command, but this doesn't. This works with in-command, but this doesn't. We want the manufacturer, based on customer experience and customer feedback, to say, I want to use in-command, but I want to use this as my air conditioner controller. I want to use this as my leveling system. I want to use this as, whatever else comes down the road. There's new things being added by the day. We want to be able to be that hub to be able to say, all right, we will work with this product. We'll work with that product. We will talk intelligently to this product to make the user experience one that's not a finger pointer, but something that's actually going to come together and work flawlessly.
Now, as I said to all of you, and those of you listening, you are going to see more of Jim and I, whether he likes it or not. There's going to be a lot more information coming out, a lot more communication, because we want everyone that buys our product, or even if you don't, we want to provide more information so you are a happy customer. In addition to hearing from us here in the future on some of the things that we're going to work on, I just kind of want to wrap up with, you're on social, you have a website, and probably, again, what I really admire. A lot of people are coming into town for service work. We have full-time RVers. They'll go to the RV Hall of Fame, which is a big stop for a lot of people here through Indiana. You even want people to come here as long as it's safe, with COVID, but you do offer tours. And even if you've got a large enough group, if there's a dealer out there that says, hey, you know what, we want to have ASA products on our shelves, do you have a willingness to continue that openness and transparency about everything that you guys do?
It's going. We have a lot of people.
Safety.
Yeah, well, pending safety, and we do have a lot of people working from home too that we didn't have before. Okay. So staffing in-house can be intermittent. So as long as they reach out far enough ahead of time and set something up, I'd be happy to do that.
That's great. So if anybody wants more information about all the products, the library of information you've had for years, and some of the stuff that we're going to do, together in the upcoming weeks, what is the best way for them to learn more information about ASA?
I would say go to www.asaelectronics.com. It talks about all of our products, our brands, everything that we've done, everything that we stand for. That should direct you to the YouTube site and everything else. That's a one-stop shop. If you want information about InCommand, I would like this to be an opportunity to plug the InCommand site.
Okay.
It's www.in-command.net. And that is a wealth of information, from videos to frequently asked questions to the units that are available that has InCommand on it. Fantastic website. Any kind of updates that are out there, which is important in today's technology world. You got to make sure everything's updated. So that's where you want to go for all the InCommand related stuff.
Jim, I appreciate you. You're making a huge impact and you're helping a lot of people. So everybody stay tuned. This has been our episode of the Launching Life's Journeys podcast, live at ASA Electronics. I'm Will Miller, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Launching Life's Journeys podcast, brought to you by Heartland RVs. Stay tuned for our next destination.